Right now in the UK, if you possess a Palestinian flag in public, by law that is reasonable suspicion, you can be arrested, then interrogated with no right to silence, legally forcing you to unlock your electronic devices. Why? Well, because you are a terrorist. You are Bin Laden himself. Thousands of innocent protesters, from priests to blind wheelchair-bound pensioners, have been dragged away, locked up and tier listed in the S category of international terror, up there with the likes of Ahmed al-Shara. Oh, wait, nah, my bad. We're actually cool with that guy. The priest is actually worse than Al-Qaeda. Now, the British High Court back in February ruled this terrorism legislation as completely unlawful, an obvious breach of free speech. Keir Starmer, my Prime Minister, dismissed the ruling. And as of recording, literally yesterday, the cops were chucking grannies in police vans, really tackling the real criminals on this island. Yeah. Speaking about free speech, Great Britain is right now banning certain political activists, certain live streamers from the country. Banned from the whole ass nation, not because of their historically questionable choice of drip, which would actually be a more legitimate reason than for criticizing Israel? What? Well, this is all part of the UK's centrist Prime Minister's attempt to counteract the far-right party Reform UK, led by the Brexit genius himself, Nigel Farage.
Big Chungus, Big Chungus, Big Chungus, Big Chungus, Big Chungus, Big Chungus.
Who has been catastrophically mogging the Prime Minister Keir Starmer recently. He's been doing that with one singular policy. Reform UK has one talking point their voters care about, which has skyrocketed them to the highest tippy top of our polls. Anti-immigrationism, of course. Stop the boats. Now, in my opinion, there's two ways as a politician to tackle the migrant crisis in the UK. Firstly, you have the logical, sensible option. If you want to stop the boats, you got to stop the reason the boats float. Almost every newer immigrant you'll meet in the UK comes from Iraq, Syria, or Afghanistan. See any correlation? Almost every older immigrant you'll meet in the UK comes from India, Pakistan, or another part of the British Empire. See any correlation? And I would place a wild guess that a lot of future immigrants you'll meet in the UK will come from Palestine, Sudan, or the Congo. See any correlation? So the realistic policy behind stopping immigration to the UK is to fix up our foreign policy once and for all. Almost every refugee in the UK has come here as a direct result of our foreign policy. Option number 2, the Reform UK method for dealing with the migrants. This time we'll get them. Nigel will fix it this time. This time, I swear to God. Simply vaporizing immigrants into clouds of radioactive dust using 7 million atomic lasers aimed at every human who's uttered the word wallahi or even glanced at a rubber dinghy in the last 20 years within our stratosphere. We've got to vaporize them all into particles of atomic intergalactic dust. The thing is, because Keir Starmer, our current Prime Minister, is so in bed with Trump and Bibi Netanyahu, the man he put in charge of our weapons exports is literally the chairman of a lobby group called Friends of Israel, who Keir Starmer himself has received donations from. It's impossible for the current government to take the reasonable, sensible stance on migration. Meaning right now, Keir Starmer and Labour have no choice but to slide to the right. Hey, slide to the right. Hey, crisscross. Everybody arrest a gran.
I support rights for Palestinian people. Hold on! I support freedom of speech.
Back in 2020, Keir Starmer presented himself as a socialist. Back in 2024, when he won the election, Keir Starmer ran on left-wing talking points. Now, his politics can be described as Zionist centre-right authoritarianism, with an emphasis on the tism, and no one is happy with this. The fat geezers down the pub with 2 teeth and 3 pints of Carling hate this because it's not far right enough. Why would we want to be more moderate? If you hate immigrants, vote for Nigel. And the rainbow-haired Brighton non-binary cider drinkers hate this as well. Despite being a left-wing party, Labour's policies have not been left-wing, leading to a mass exodus from the Labour Party, spiraling the UK into a messy political identity civil war. In the words of the great Jeffrey Epstein himself, a return to tribalism. You and I both agreed finding things on their way to collapse was much easier than finding the next bargain. And then replying to that email, the great Peter Thiel of Palantir dropped the 4-word bombshell: Brexit, just the beginning, which is a great way to describe where we're at in the UK right now. Brexit was just the beginning. Now we are in the pits of tribalist civil war in which traditional political parties are dying, and best of all, the elites who are pulling the strings are laughing at us in email threads, mouths watering at the prospect of making ridiculous sums of money and finding bargains within the newly formed cracks opening up in the UK like it's the start of Ice Age. The only difference is the squirrel is actually Netanyahu and Jeffrey Epstein. The acorn is Keir Starmer and Nigel Farage. And the ice, well, the ice, my friend, is our asses. Stop, please stop. I'm new, stop, bro, please. But that's kind of just a preview. To really understand the sad state of affairs on this rainy island right now, you need to dive much deeper into our Prime Minister's head. Hey. Technocrats believe in statistics over human nature. Essentially, this political belief is the closest a human can get to being AI. And Britain's Prime Minister, assuming he hasn't resigned by the time this video comes out, Sir Keir Starmer, is a self-professed technocrat.
This is an AI.
What is an AI?
This is AI voice.
What did you do? I didn't do it. I'm a humanoid. I'm an AI. I'm not like, what the f? I'm a humanoid. You AI? Yes.
Our current day political sphere is hugely dominated by brain rot social media populism, basically the political tactic of selling oversimplified, visible solutions for a few select popular issues normal people have. From Trump to Zoran Mamdani, almost everyone successful in politics right now is playing the flash game of populism. But the current UK government of centrist boomers have chosen to go down a slightly different route. See, these clean-shaven, old-school trade union guys are too good for any kind of populism. They're above that. Addressing popular issues with popular solutions on social media in a very public way is actually just far-right nonsense, bro. That's right. Here at Labour UK, we are anti-populism, meaning we actually strive to be unpopular. 4D chess, bro. They'll never see this one coming, man. For 2 years now, these boomers have been focusing on technocratic policies that, yes, statistically on paper might mathematically look great, but what about public opinion? What about how our supporters feel? What about human nature? What about just engaging our voters at all? Fuck them. Kill them. Ship them to Papua New Guinea, bro. Infect them all with hantavirus. I don't care. You want to know the 5 triumphs of Keir Starmer's regime, the policies and decisions that have defined Labour's 24 to 26 public opinion? You want to know what they're best known for right now, bro? 1. Restricting the British internet, implementing ID checks for anyone trying to access any website containing 18+ content. 2. Restricting the right to protest. Mass arrests are very common at pro-Palestinian protests, with everyone from priests to old disabled protesters being dragged away in police vans and permanently stamped with terrorist charges. 3. Making the police harsher in general. More stop and search, facial recognition police vans everywhere. I see them all about. Sniffer dogs at train stations, and no advancement whatsoever towards decriminalization like Labour promised they would. 4. Trump/Israel. Seemingly, the only public appearances this man ever makes is alongside his orange pocket Trump.
To think that we settled Azerbaijan and Albania as an example, it was going on for years.
was never going to be settled. If you remember, the Prime Minister and the presidents, they were there for many years. They said, when they were in my office, we settled. And they started off at both sides of the Oval Office, so far away. I didn't know you could be so far away. And as we were together for an hour, they kept getting closer, closer. And by the time we finished, we all hugged each other.
And our foreign policy reflects that. Post-Brexit, the UK is desperately looking for big trading partners with favourable deals, because we lost all of ours. Kia thinks Trump is the answer, but to rizz Trump, you need to rizz up Trump's owner as well. Israel, which is why the internet has lovingly coined Keir Starmer's nickname as Kid Starver. 5. Finally, and probably most importantly, restricting our fags. What? I mean cigarettes, okay? I swear to God, that's what we call cigarettes here, bro. I swear. Don't cancel me. Now look, guys, I gotta come clean about something. I gotta admit something to you guys. Every now and then, I may or may not indulge in a cigarette or two.
Smoking is extremely bad for your health, and it is an expensive, needless, pathetic addiction that will absolutely somewhat lead to the end of your life just because you wanted to look cool. And I'm pretty sure it shrinks your meat too, or something. IDK. But yeah, okay, thanks YouTube. Please let me continue with this video now. Okay, perfect, thanks.
Much like almost every Brit, every single Brit does. Yeah. Okay, so I might be a bit biased here, but I really think having a and a pint and maybe a cone of chips in a pub garden is truly one of the few real examples of culture we have on this island. Ask literally any normal working class Brit, anyone at the far right protests, what even is the British identity? What is British culture? I guarantee in the first sentence they will say the word pub. So I think it's great that the first fucking big public change Keir Starmer proposed was banning smoking in pub gardens or outside of pubs. Remember that? It was literally day one of his government. And crazily enough, Labour actually did do some decent things when they got elected straight away. They cancelled the Rwanda plan, blocked the £10 billion we were going to send to the terrorist state Rwanda starting in April. Labour also started the process of nationalising the UK's rail network. They put a stop to all the healthcare and all the train strikes. But despite all this extremely agreeable great policy, you want to know what they chose to go on the news and say?
I start with reminding everybody that 80,000 plus people lose their lives through smoking.
Over 80,000 people lose their lives every year.
That's a huge number. That's a huge impact on the NHS.
Burden on the NHS.
And of course the cost is picked up by the
burden on the taxpayer.
And we can't walk past that. We have to be clear about preventative measures. So yes, I do support the measures. Obviously the detail will be set out in due course, but I want us to move to a smoke-free environment. I want to reduce those preventable deaths.
That's a preventable death.
Right, yeah, because we definitely don't have any bigger fish to fry right now. No, not at all. It's not like our healthcare system, our roads, our bins, our public transport, our schools, our poverty rate, our homelessness crisis, our cost of living, our real estate crisis, our catastrophic foreign policy, the entire black hole in our economy from billionaires and billion-pound corporations paying less tax than nurses due to leftover remnants of the British Empire serving as tax havens should get any attention. No, what we really need to focus on here is making our main priority as a regime. Because bro, haven't you heard? Kill people. Wait, hold on. You're trying to tell me smoking kills? What? Huh? Really? So, say wallahi, bro. Say wallahi. I had no idea. Smoking kills? I've never heard that before in my life. See, you have to understand, to a technocrat like Keir Starmer, addiction, giving one British person deadly lung cancer is actually worse than one British person going homeless because of the insane cost of living, especially renting, which is artificially generated by big real estate companies who have zero regulation and own a monopoly of housing in this country. And mathematically, on paper, Keir Starmer is right. One person in this equation dies, one person lives. Death is worse than life, right? So this problem must be more important. But if you snap out out of it. Stop thinking like a fucking ChatGPT AI robot boomer idiot. Use a singular fucking brain cell. This type of logic becomes genuinely schizophrenic. But I genuinely think we got a schizo on our hands here, because tell me why. On April 29th, 2026, 1 week before this year's local council elections, Keir Starmer announced that from now onwards, anyone who turns 18 can never, ever smoke a cigarette legally in this country ever again. Anyone born after the year of 2008 has a complete lifetime smoking ban applied to them. The human adult right to choose. If you want to set a cylindrical stick of dried leaves on fire and put it to your lips has been taken away. This unhealthy tradition we've been partaking in since the year 1600 has been criminalized for a whole generation of humans. Man, fuck this country. God smite this fucking island. God strike down this fucking island, bro. What's next? My pint of beer? This is all we live for. You want to take away half my paycheck and my cigarettes? Man, fuck you. I recently went to the Bundestag on an official visit with all my other YouTuber friends, yeah? I went to the German parliament building, yeah? Inside the German government building, they have a smoking area. I personally in the German parliament building, whilst at the same time, my government is banning smoking. Dude, we won the war. What are we doing? What are we actually doing? This genuinely has to be karma for colonialism. I can't think of any other reasoning for this shit, man.
Don't go to sleep tonight. I'm coming for you. Every single one of y'all in the stream right now.
Don't do it! I'm so scared. The demons, they're after me. They're after me. The demons are coming to me. Why would you do that, Speed?
So basically, Labour's approval rating was already absolutely dismal already. Then they decided to ban smoking for the new generation 7 days before local council elections which specifically hedge a lot on the younger generation's vote. Surprise, 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 the right-wing party whose frontman constantly takes pictures of himself smoking absolutely destroyed Labour. Yeah, despite winning our last election by phenomenally gigantic margins in UK terms, and essentially having the freedom to roll out any positive popular policy they wanted, the British centrist political party Labour have absolutely cooked the opportunity. And by the look of our local election results, it's very much smelling like the Gammons might be elected up into Downing Street in our next election in 2029. Now, many people have misdiagnosed this massive political 2-year transition as being solely down to the growth of the far right in the UK. I think that's only half the story here.
Yeah.
We also need to consider the violent, gruesome, graphic death of the left in this country. If you look at Labour's recent track record, you wouldn't be incorrect to believe they are a centre-right political party. These guys got elected and ran on left-wing talking points. Back in 2024, they won the election with one of the biggest majorities in UK history because they posed themselves as very left-wing. Keir Starmer even called himself a socialist. And then they proceeded to say, "Fuck you," to all their voters, basically. And whilst I'm sure some of these voters fled to Reform recently, I think the majority of us are just pissed and exhausted and completely disenfranchised with the entire political system completely. That's how I feel whenever I think about this island situation. It hurts my brain. I just go straight to nihilism. And yes, whilst Reform has grown, I also think their recent success is just as much down to the fact that anyone who isn't super motivated and signed up to the far right just did not vote. Apart from, you know, maybe Green, which is a pretty big exception, and Reform, none of these parties address any of the issues most young or normal people want addressed in a populist, motivating way. And you're telling me you also want to take away my right to smoke a cigarette too? Fuck you, man. The growth of Britain's far right is almost more to blame on the current leftist government than the fucking far-right people themselves. I really do believe that British people uniquely despise restrictions and following rules. This is what 22 years of life amongst British culture has taught me. Okay, I'm only half British. The majority of my family is in Sweden. I've been going to Stockholm my entire life. I was there a week ago, so I think I have a uniquely expert opinion on this subject. In Sweden, they don't mind following the rules. They don't mind following the strong restrictions they have put on them because the quality of life is extremely high. Everything is so fucking nice in Sweden. It's clean. Public transport's amazing. It's so safe. Most people leave their babies in prams outside cafes or bars. Everyone makes shitloads of money. There are outdoor gyms everywhere, playgrounds for kids everywhere. The healthcare is good. Your rights as a worker are great. Prisons rehabilitate all the criminals. Old people get looked after. There's loads of restrictions on housing and rental prices. It's surprisingly extremely cheap to live in Sweden as a Swedish citizen, so they don't fucking care that they can't smoke in public spaces at all. They have to go to a special shop for alcohol. Partying has crazy age restrictions. You can't drink in a lot of public spaces. You can't be too rowdy or even dance in some bars or in public. You gotta pay super high taxes as well. They don't mind it because in return they live in an amazing country. We don't have any of that shit. Our country is a feudal, failing, privatized, late-stage capitalist, broke, dirty, unregulated shithole, which is bearable. It's totally fine if we just get the freedom and lax social rules so we can enjoy it and at least drink and party and smoke away the pain. That's genuinely how most Brits look at this country. It's a shithole, but that's fine because we get to enjoy the shit. Now, this clean-cut, professional, career politician, boomer, Keir Starmer comes along and tries to slap Sweden-style social restrictions for the good of the people on our shithole without any of the benefits or fixing any of the core issues. You can't have both, bruh. He really hasn't publicly addressed any of the massive problems with our country, and these problems are what makes us so in need of a smoke break in the first place. This policy is like someone giving you a really well presented, nice looking, perfectly wrapped up present, and then you unwrap it, peel off all the clean, pretty exterior, and inside there's Theresa May's rose toy. I don't want that at all, but you get what I'm saying, right? Our British mindset is hardwired to despise restriction and rules, and specifically government overreach, because our social freedom is all we fucking have to be patriotic about in this damn country. Therefore, restrictive policy will always lose to populist policy, especially in the current climate, especially when you consider Nigel Farage's image up against Keir Starmer's image. Oh man, it's genuinely so over. It's genuinely so fucking Jova. Actually, it's literally Jova, because Keir Starmer's government is almost exactly the British equivalent of Joe Biden's government. 1. Get voted in on left-wing talking points. 2. Deliver on 0 of those talking points. 3. Serve Israel before your own nation.
Were I a Jew, I would be a Zionist. And my father pointed out to me, I did not need to be a Jew to be a Zionist. For I am. Israel is essential to the security of Jews worldwide.
Everything I love, bro. I'm the one that smacked Palestinian children. That night when he got dropped, Yahoo had that money on his head, told me to slide, told me to smack, because, you know, he got tired of that money in his mouth playing all the time. Is what it is.
4. Absolutely cook your chances of re-election by doing none or very terrible public appearances and speeches, etc. 5. Have a very public civil war for leadership within your party.
What'd you do? I'm finna do a song with somebody that I don't like. This nigga think we cool, but he won't make it home tonight.
6. And finally, in the middle of all this chaos, allow the far right to creep in as an appealing option for your original voters who voted you in by a historic majority. Bang! And it's crazy, because Trump is bad in exactly the same way Nigel Farage is bad. One word: immigrants. And no, I'm not talking about how they both will get voted in the same way by shouting about immigrants, despite both their campaigns being heavily aimed at immigrants. No. I'm not even talking about their policies on deportation, more specifically ICE and Nigel Farage's UK ICE equivalent. No, I'm actually talking about how Nigel Farage will bring more economic, freeloading, un-British migrants into our country. Truth nuke. Absolute truth nuke. Yeah, you didn't see that one coming, did you? That's right. I've turned evil, bro. Truth nuke. See, Nigel talks about borders quite a lot. On the outside, it might seem like he's anti-immigration. Really anti-immigration, you know? But if so, why last year was he paid 40,000 quid by a foreign company called Nomad Capitalist, which specializes in helping economic migrants transcend borders? And you know, I'm not talking about poverty-stricken Iraqi migrants fleeing the decades of sadistic torture and satanistic pillaging we forced them through. No. I'm talking about Ricky, who owns 200 tanning salons in Colchester and lives in Cyprus with his turkey teeth, his Filipino wife/slave, and his 1% tax rate to keep him company. Essentially, Nigel Farage is employed by migrants, expats who are ripping off the UK and contributing to a black hole in our economy, which is devastating all our public sectors, schools, hospitals, roads, bins. They get paid for by taxes, which these guys are skipping. And these multi-millionaires and billionaires are the ones who should be contributing the most tax to this country, because they're using this country the most. They're using our services the most. Instead, Keir Starmer will turn around and tell you the solution to this is not going after the billionaires skipping tax, is not hunting them down and burning them on stakes in public like we should do. No, the solution to all this is to raise taxes on people like me and you to carry the financial burden, which is 100% the responsibility of the biggest corporations and the highest 1% of individuals to pay in this country. That ain't my job. That ain't my fucking job, bro. And insane fiscal policy like this is exactly what makes people like me and you unhappy, stressed out, and so in need of a smoke break. Look, bro, if you want to eradicate smoking in the country, I can tell you the best way to do that. Stop making everyone so stressed. But let's quickly just go back to Nigel Farage's pro-migrant policies, which I hate. Oh yeah, I should probably also mention the £5 million donation Nigel personally received. He personally got that donation from the same guy who supplied the UK's largest donation to a political party in history to Reform UK. Of course, I'm talking about the British billionaire Chris Harborne, who pays all his tax in Thailand. Yes, very, very patriotic. The thing is, for Chris and for Ricky, it's kind of annoying having to go all the way to Cyprus or Thailand for a portion of your year to get residency and pay tax abroad. It's so sad. It's so unfortunate. Poor guys. Lucky for them, probably the most important Reform UK policy, which no one in this fucking country is talking about, is their golden visa policy, more patriotically known as the Britannica card. Basically, you pay a flat fee one time to the British government for this special golden ticket, and you'll get residency in the UK without having to pay any tax on your foreign income in the UK. Yes, this is just like Trump's Platinum card. The only difference is Trump's Platinum card costs $5 million. Nigel's Britannica card costs 250k. 250k, bro. That's genuinely about the same amount that North Macedonia charge for citizenship like this. That's less than Turkey charge. 250k to 250k. You know what a one-time payment of 250k is to the world's top 1%? A droplet of KA grape juice, bruh. It's fucking nothing. This is why foreign billionaires are sponsoring Reform UK. They all want to move here and pay no tax just to take advantage of our country and our hard work and all the public services in this country that we pay for by paying extremely high taxes whilst they'll pay none. This is so crazy. If you want my totally honest opinion, bro, the friendly guys down at the Kurdish shawarma spot on my high street that always give me extra pickles free of charge seem like much less of a threat to my life than the economic migrants Reform UK is slobbering all over. Do you understand how absolutely catastrophic making the UK into a tax haven would be? Usually, countries with crazy digital nomad visas like this have a very small population and a need for, more highly skilled immigrants. They usually have a very stable economy and a very non-volatile groundwork of their nation. The UK is the absolute opposite of every description of what makes a good tax haven. The economy will get so much fucking worse. Using public services will genuinely be reserved for completely broke, hopeless peasants. Using private services will be reserved for people who aren't even helping fund the public services at all. They won't be paying tax. And then we're left with an economic apartheid state, a two-tier society. The UK would basically just become America, but at least in America they don't pay high taxes. We would still be paying some of the world's highest taxes to live in an America-style society. It makes no fucking sense. Like, oh my fucking god, bruh. If you're gonna politically shove a bear trap down my ass and then open and close it 10 times a day for my entire fucking life, at least let me pay America-level taxes. If our public services are gonna be America-level awful, at least let me pay America-style taxes, bro. I'm begging you. Please, I'm begging you, bro. Every time I submit my fucking tax return, all my savings just fucking vanish. They all disappear. My bank account gets cleared for no reason. You people, you don't even collect the bins outside my house. My fucking family have to drive to the recycling center and drop all our rubbish off once a week. Bro, fuck you, man. I never thought I'd be jealous of Americans. I never thought I'd ever want to be American, bro. Well, look, this wouldn't be the first time Nigel Farage has bestowed a migrant crisis upon the UK. Another truth nuke incoming. Oh, we all just forgot about that, huh? Oh, we're just gonna forget that the dude who will probably become our next prime minister by campaigning against the recent influx of immigration into our country is the fucking singular cause of that recent influx of immigration into our fucking country. Brexit is the single main thing Nigel Farage is famous for. It's what he's synonymous with around the world. This all started with Brexit, and I can't emphasize enough how perfectly that goddamn email between Epstein and Peter Thiel of Palantir describes our current day situation, and it's written within potentially the most evil email thread in all of human history. Let me just jog your memory, alright? A return to tribalism, counter to globalism, amazing new alliances. You and I both agreed zero interest rates were too high. As I said in your office, finding things on their way to collapse was much easier than finding the next bargain. Brexit, just the beginning. I mean, bro, do I even need to say any more? No. It's literally there in writing. It's divide and conquer. The UK has been divided and conquered, and whilst us chuds fight amongst ourselves, vandalizing and spray painting the Danish flag on roundabouts in the name of patriotism, our economy is being plundered by the global elites such as Epstein, such as Peter Thiel, and this will accelerate even further if or when Reform UK take control. That plundering will increase tenfold because remember, after all, Nigel Farage himself was advised by Steve Bannon for the longest time. Steve Bannon was one of Jeffrey Epstein's closest confidants. They were boyfriend and boyfriend, bruh, and obviously all of Steve Bannon's advice is going to be favorable to Epstein. Israel.
Nigel will do anything for any amount of money.
It's a bit early in the day, so all I've got actually is coffee, but I hope you enjoy a few pints with the lads tonight. Up the Ra!
up the Ra, Nigel. I mean,
So trusting someone who will do anything and say anything for any amount of money to be patriotic for your country is pretty stupid. Nigel Farage is one of the worst politicians in Europe, and most of his voters don't even know why they are voting for him or what his policies are, except deporting immigrants. Nigel Farage has appeared on Russian propaganda news outlets not once, not twice, but 17 times.
I'm honoured.
My mummy says you hate foreigners.
No, little girl. No.
Farage was also the face of Britain leaving the European Union, and the biggest donor of Brexit, Aaron Banks, gave Leave.eu 8.4 million quid, the largest political donation in British history at the time. And also, Aaron Banks had 11 meetings with the Russian ambassador Yakovenko, was offered Russian state-backed gold and diamond mining deals, and announced a Russian-linked business deal 12 days after the Brexit vote. So he made these massive donations to Farage, who was working day and night to ruin the UK and leave the European Union. Not to mention that Reform's treasurer and his big donors live in the same apartment building as at least 5 Kremlin-connected billionaires. The bigger part of Nigel is his links to Epstein. Steve Bannon's messages with Epstein were insane because it showed directly how they run all these parties. Steve Bannon was Trump's former chief strategist, and he was working on his project to make all of Europe far right, and he was hyped as fuck messaging Epstein about this. But the issue is that the current ruling party in the UK is genuinely so bad that all Reform has to run on is just reversing the policies that Labour has done, like the Labour ban on anyone born after 2008 never being able to buy cigarettes. I don't know if you guys have ever met a British person in your life, but they cannot survive it without their and I don't mean a homosexual person, that's what they call cigarettes. So taking away a British man's cigarette is genuinely worse than taking away all their colonies. So this will just create a massive black market with shitty cigarettes. Motherfuckers might start selling tobacco mixed with glass shards or something. It's just a horrible idea, right? And now all Reform has to do is, we're gonna reverse the ban on cigarettes, and just off that, they're gonna get so many votes. And then these morons, these parties across Europe, these like liberal parties across Europe compromise with these populist far-right parties to deport all immigrants, reduce migration and everything. They don't gain any votes, they only lose them, because at that point the voters think, okay, I want to deport the immigrants, so why would I vote for Keir Starmer instead of Reform? Yeah, Keir is deporting immigrants, but Reform wants to deport more immigrants anyways. So what's the point? So they don't gain any voters, but instead lose more voters, because the people who voted for Labour don't want to deport any immigrants, and they're like, what the f***, my party wants to deport immigrants now? Get the f*** out of here. It's the same exact thing that happened with Kamala and Trump. When Kamala started compromising on, I will deport more immigrants and I will love Israel more. Think, bro, think. What do you think will happen? You're not gonna get any of Trump's fan base, bro. You're only going to lose yours.
I'm an insomniac. I'm an insomniac. Staring at the ceiling, waiting for my thoughts to switch off. Yes, I'm an insomniac. God save our gracious King. Long live our noble King. God save our King. God save
Reform have had an absolute field day selling their 2025 narrative to poor working class British people with no money. But do you want to know the catch? They invented the poor working class people with no money. Brexit was Nigel Farage's baby. Yeah, remember that? Remember last time we listened to this guy's solutions to the immigration issue? It got worse. And also, more importantly, everyone became poor. We lost all of our fucking trading partners. Therefore, British industry collapsed. Turns out it's quite hard to maintain a business when there are 0 customers. The economy committed suicide. And conveniently, whilst everyone got poorer at the hands of Nigel Farage's lies, his cronies, like these 4 guys for example, some of the UK's biggest tech investors, property developers, shareholders, manufacturing firms, corporations in general, hiked up their prices. In the last 4 years, Tesco has doubled their profits. Wetherspoons doubled its profits during a so-called cost of living crisis. Could you maybe, possibly, potentially guess who is best mates with the founder and chairman of Wetherspoons? Weatherspoons. Drum roll, please. Yes, Nigel Farage, Reform UK. They are working together to make our pints more expensive. This is treason. The British far right intentionally made the economy stagnant, then started ripping British people off, making us all broke, and are now taking advantage of the recent substandard healthcare, education, and living standards, channeling British people's anger in the opposite direction from the root problem, which is themselves. Remind you of anyone?
We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated.
I'm all for Nigel Farage.
Give us a high five.
You're right.
I'm a reform.
Same here. So what annoys me is that everyone thinks that reform are all about hating immigrants.
No, it's a load of rubbish. But I think there's so much more to us than that.
Oh, most definitely. Of course there is. Of course there is.
What other reform policies do you like?
I mean, I can't name them off the top of my head. To be honest with you, I can't remember them all now.
Can I help you out?
No. Give me a second.
What other reform policies do you like?
Spend more money on the NHS.
That's actually not one of our policies.
So we want to cut public services by 150 billion pounds.
Wow.
Okay. It's quite a bold statement.
We need to put an end to free healthcare.
Yeah, do you think so?
We need to protect the wealthiest.
Yes.
So we need to cut the taxes on things like private education, private healthcare.
Yep.
Protect the billionaires.
I don't really know too much about all that, but yeah.
I think we should ban protests altogether as well.
Yeah, 100%.
We support 0-hour contracts.
Yeah.
I don't like all this, like 1 week you're working, 1 week you're not.
Well, that is actually a reform policy.
Yeah.
We want to protect the wealthy.
We think it's a good idea to turn this country into a tax haven for the billionaires.
That means not taxing their foreign income.
Yeah, great ideas.
See, the thing with Brexit is you need to understand, right? It was not some plot to economically free ourselves from the shackles of Europe. It wasn't even political at all. It was mainly just designed to divide, weaken, destabilize the economy, and tribalize the UK, setting the stage for the same compromised people who invented Brexit to then win elections and lead the country a decade later, which is what we could be seeing in 2029 if Keir Starmer doesn't pull his damn socks up. But he won't, because if you go to the end of the line, at the end of the line, both him and Nigel Farage are influenced by the same people, the same set of global elites, which is the main reason why it pains me so much to talk about the UK, because we're just completely cooked. There's no solution here. Usually I can pose some slightly positive spin on things, but it's like with the UK, we are genuinely in the best case scenario right now. It doesn't get any better than this. Now just consider this, right? We all know Epstein had influence over the internet, 4chan, Reddit, his extensive YouTube watch history, his psychotic business interest in driving the West towards tribalism through polarizing all political discussion, which is more real now than ever. And if Epstein himself could have had even a tiny hand in shaping the online realm as we know it, just imagine who else has their toes dipped in this damn pie. So it's more important than ever that you put your privacy first and use a VPN when you're browsing the internet, especially if you've got videos like mine in your search history. And can you believe it? I just happen to have a special deal on none other than CyberGhost VPN today for you, my friend. I use this VPN myself, not even joking, every day. Thanks to these guys for helping me out and also sponsoring this video. But this should really be a no-brainer for you guys. I mean, just put some trust in the over 38 million loyal users worldwide that CyberGhost has, one of which being me. Because even on incognito mode, your internet service provider, your school or work's IT department, your home Wi-Fi router, anyone with access can track what you do online. But with CyberGhost VPN, simply select one of their over 100 locations to encrypt and reroute all of your traffic through a foreign server. This also means using CyberGhost unlocks geo-restricted games, content from over 40 streaming platforms, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, you name it. CyberGhost works on all devices and operating systems, Windows, Mac, Android, iOS, plus you can always protect up to 7 devices at the same time. Share it with your friends and family, you know? All this for $2.03 a month. Plus you get 4 months for free, which is 84% off. Yup, CyberGhost have given me a crazy deal for you guys. Please go sign up using that link in description. It really helps me out too. It would help me fund and make more videos like this in the future. And most importantly, there is a 45-day money-back guarantee, so you literally have nothing to lose, and CyberGhost would not be offering you that if their product was bad. So give it a shot. Now, these to you might seem like some pretty good anti-reform talking points I'm making, right? I think I'm cooking, right?
Yeah.
So you'd think maybe Labour and Keir Starmer would shout these kind of arguments from the rooftops, considering how absolutely awfully they've been recently losing to reform. But no, instead, Keir Starmer has essentially steered Labour into this insane reform-light position. They've gone from the left to the centre-right. Instead of combating reform's talking points, he is instead like half-assed making reform's point, which again goes back to how retarded the British centrist technocratic dad mindset is. Well, hey, statistically on paper, mate, everyone who's super politically engaged in the country right now is worried about immigration, Palestine protests, they love Trump, and they don't want hardworking billionaires to get taxed. So we must simply win them all over. Actually, we'll even approve old right-wing policies from the Tories, like criminalizing sex. It's so crazy to me. Because look, I'm no big fan of Labour at all. I don't like that party at all, but they have done some okay things. They've done some pretty good things even. They stopped the fucking Rwanda plan. They stopped all the train strikes. They decreased NHS waiting times to the best they've been in decades. And out of all that, you're choosing to do a big publicity run for your fucking ban of sex 1 week before the local elections. I'm hopeless. This is a hopeless situation. AI could have done a better job than this, bro. The Albanian AI politician could have done a better job here than Keir Starmer, bro, because it legitimately gets to a point where reform don't even need to come up with their own talking points. Like, apart from being anti-immigration, reform literally publicly have no policy aside from just undoing every new restriction Labour announce. Every time Keir Starmer makes a law, Nigel Farage goes on Twitter and says, "This is stupid, I'm gonna undo it, vote for me."
Good evening. It doesn't really matter who wins general elections anymore. They're pretty much the same. I mean, after all, Rishi Sunak wanted to make sure that in 10 years' time, 25-year-olds could buy cigarettes legally and 24-year-olds couldn't. That struck me as being fairly bonkers. Now we have Sir Keir Starmer suggesting there'll be an outdoor smoking ban. Yeah, that's right. You won't be able to smoke in pub gardens, outside pubs, outside sports venues.
Any of you aged 14 or under will never legally be allowed to buy cigarettes or any smoking materials. That's the legislation this government has proposed. Moronic. No one's arguing that smoking is good, but smoking is a choice. It's not for government to put a cliff edge on whether you're 14 years old or 15 years old. All you do with something like that is create a new black market in years to come.
Prime Minister Keir Starmer says he wants to stop 80,000 people from dying each year from smoking-related illness. But one smoker hoping to take his job, Farage, wants to repeal the ban. He says it'd be unworkable for shopkeepers trying to work out who to ID, would fuel an illicit trade and impinge on British freedoms. He also says there's other ways to stop people smoking. The Reform UK leader, who is currently topping the polls, says the ban would be quickly scrapped if he became Prime Minister. Do you support the ban, or should it go up in smoke?
And when Reform's political opposition, Labour, doesn't push back against anything Reform says in this last-ditch attempt to win back their voters who moved to the right, I can see why non-political young people in this country see the dude smoking a fag and the guy banning the fag and instinctively vote for the fag even if they don't smoke fags. I'm talking about alright, cigarette. I'm talking about that's only in this video, okay? Fag 100% of the time means in my country where I'm from. Now, some of you might remember, I actually made a whole video months ago when Keir Starmer's first major restrictive policy was announced, the 18+ internet ID check-in policy I'm talking about, obviously. In this video, I essentially had a massive rant about how indescribably stupid and counterproductive policies like this are for the UK, and specifically for the Labour Party. What I said back then has completely come true, obviously. But if you look over my channel, you'll notice this video is absent. In a suspicious, ironic twist of fate, the video I made criticizing internet censorship got censored. It got taken the down. I appealed this with YouTube multiple times, but apparently multiple parts of my video constituted to cyberbullying. Yeah. Okay, so I've removed all the instances of alleged cyberbullying, okay? And I've also updated a lot of the information and news, etc. So it'll basically be like watching a whole new video, and I'm gonna roll it now. But keep in mind, the same logic with criminalization opening up black markets and causing more harm than before obviously isn't just on the internet. It also applies to a lot of Keir Starmer's policy in general, more specifically drugs and sex. Americans, Australians, EU citizens, and most others as well. The despicable information I'm about to explain will soon be, or is already, affecting your countries, not just us on this godforsaken island, okay?
I live in a skull!
So listen up. As of right now, if you are a 16-year-old in the UK, you can legally drink as much beer as you like. However, it is illegal for you to go on the Reddit page r/beer. You can join the army, die for your country. However, you can't legally access any online information about the crimes your army is committing or the military operations your government is supporting. You can legally be diagnosed and prescribed means. However, looking up any information on this subject, including the side effects, is totally forbidden. You can go to the local FC, cop yourself 7 million wings and die of a heart attack, but you cannot open any website containing the term eating disorder. You can throw yourself off a bridge, but you can't open up any website containing the term and most egregiously, a 16-year-old Brit is legally completely allowed to have with any adult. A 16-year-old dating a 75-year-old is completely legal in my country. However, you legally cannot access 99% of related content online. Anything from the hub to important information about contraception to resources for assault victims, it's completely banned unless you are over the age of 18 and willing to provide your ID to prove your age, which alongside a 3D scan of your face will be analyzed by a third-party AI data company to verify your identity and age. This AI company will then store your information on a cloud so you can log back onto the site you're trying to access without going through this hours-long process again. And then, I guess, when your full name, address, date of birth, passport number, and your fucking 3D face scan appear as a data leak, all listed next to a collection of your freakiest, most compromising internet searches ever. I don't know, bro. I guess you gotta just move to rural Bhutan or something at that point. Start a new life completely disconnected from the internet and Western society.
My name is Walter Hartwell White. I live at 308 Negra Arroyo Lane, Albuquerque, New Mexico, 87105.
If I was you, I'd just move to the flatlands of Turkmenistan, get yourself some new homies who've never heard of Skibbity Toilet. Oh shit, even the world's most isolated country have been exposed to the hub. We're cooked. We're all cooked. We're so fucking cooked. But wait, hold up. Stop right there. I'ma need to see your ID before you proceed any further into this video, because my friends, yes, there is unfortunately a new wave of age restrictions hitting the internet. YouTube, Spotify, Reddit, Wikipedia, Discord, Twitter, Xbox, Steam, the hub itself, and worst of all, seemingly everything in my country, the UK.
Would you like to know the truth about the stories regarding me taking my trousers down? Listen, there are no findings in the investigation that I took my trousers down.
This is the intended result of Britain's new Online Safety Act, which was put into place a few weeks ago. Similar internet restrictions are being put into action all over the world though.
Hi, I'm Shrita Bill. As you may know, your elected officials have required us to verify your age before granting you access to our website. While safety and compliance are at the forefront of our mission, giving your ID card every time you want to visit an adult platform is not the most effective solution for protecting our users, and in fact, will put children and your privacy at risk. In addition, mandating age verification without proper enforcement gives platforms the opportunity to choose whether or not to comply. As we've seen in other states, this just drives traffic to sites with far fewer safety measures in place.
And the general justification for these new laws is to protect the children. I think our buddy Keir Starmer mainly said this because it's a kind of end-all argument, you know? If you dare to argue against protecting the children, you kinda look a bit sus, a bit like a pedo, a bit like that one guy I've been making videos about recently, you know?
Hey, you know they got your mans. They got your mans on assault charges. Yeah, the you be hanging with.
But I'm gonna put my life on the line here and argue against protecting the children. Okay, whoa, just hear me out.
In relation to online and social media, the first thing I'd say is this is not a law-free zone. Whether you're directly involved or whether you're remotely involved, you're culpable. And you will be put before the courts if you've broken the law.
Mr. Prime Minister, arrest Wow Mao, not me. Everything was written by Wow Mao.
Just hear me out. I do not think kids should have any access to explicit online content. Mainly, I think it's extremely harmful when children are exposed to this stuff. The same way or heroin is extremely bad for anyone exposed to it. And why would I draw this comparison? Well, this whole Online Safety Act situation reminds me a lot of America's famous war on drugs, which obviously drugs won. I mean, have you seen the state of America? I think we all know who won that war. But in short, the idea that outlawing something harmful, which is however unfortunately ingrained into society and into the brains of people, the idea that just outlawing that will magically eliminate the problem is just absolutely delusional. In my opinion, this approach almost always makes the initial problem way worse. For America's drug war, it meant that the illegal substances got stronger and laced, because if there's now a 50% chance that the American government funds the brutal murder of your entire South American drug making operation, then you're gonna have to increase the strength of the substance by 50% to keep your profit margins the same. However, you can't just magically make cocaine or heroin stronger. You have to instead lace it with fentanyl, which makes the root problem so much worse because it's like 1 billion times more addictive and 1 gazillion times more dangerous, and the only people that benefit from this is China, America's op, the country America really doesn't want to succeed. They're the only ones reaping the benefits of the American drug war. Congratulations once again, guys. If only Joe Biden had just let everyone keep walking around smoking like his son was allowed to, America would have unfathomably less of an epidemic right now.
If you have a piece of cocaine no bigger than this quarter that I'm holding in my hand, we passed a law through the leadership of Senator Thurmond and myself and others, a law that says if you're caught with that, you go to jail for 5 years. You get no probation, nothing other than 5 years in jail. Judge doesn't have a choice. I don't care why they become a sociopath. We have an obligation to cordon them off from the rest of society. They are in jail, away from my mother, your husband, our families. So I don't want to ask what made them do this. They must be taken off the street.
This exact same logic can be applied to the method the UK have used to make 18+ content illegal. We've instead made 18+ content way more harmful than it was before. To understand why, I need to explain this stupid stupid system my government used to do this, to enforce the Online Safety Act. Basically, how strict the new age restrictions are depends on the size of your website. Category 1 refers to any site that contains any explicit content that has over 34 million monthly viewers. So every big site like Hub or YouTube or Wikipedia or Reddit falls into this category. These websites by law need to do ID checks for anyone who's trying to access 18 plus content on their site or their app. It's the law. However, category 2A and 2B refer to websites with any explicit content, again, however, less viewers than category 1. And apparently, these sites just don't fucking matter. Regardless of the content, they don't legally have to do ID checks. They don't legally have to do age verification. All they're required to do is, I quote, partially moderate their sites, which 99.9% of all websites are already doing. So this whole thing is not actually about how harmful the contents of a site is. No, the Online Safety Act is far more focused on simply optimizing the amount of people that can be tracked, logged, and monitored on the internet. That is the simple truth. That's the only way you can look at this logic. Restricting websites just based on their amount of users alone means that a big website like YouTube, which has 2.5 billion users, needs to ID you if they believe your viewing history is childish enough to raise suspicion. Yeah, I got bad news for anyone who watches like Mr. Beast challenges or Minecraft playthroughs. Get your IDs ready, my friends. Bro, Spotify needs to check my ID so I can listen to Carti. And then on the other hand, you can just go open up some obscure early 2000s German tentacle XXX Oompa Loompa triple evil satanic torture 3000.com, and because it has little to no monthly users, no age protection is required whatsoever. This has led to some absolutely insane proposals from websites. For example, Wikipedia, it only works because you have like thousands of anonymous editors, right? Well, under the Online Safety Act, as long as they are a category 1 website, Wikipedia must ID and log every single editor. Wikipedia does not want to do this, obviously. They want to keep the contributors anonymous, so they're considering implementing a monthly cap on the amount of Wikipedia users. Only 34 million people could use the site per month, meaning they wouldn't fall into the category 1 anymore and therefore wouldn't have to ID check their moderators. So just imagine at the start of every month, we'd have to like queue up and wait till midnight and open Wikipedia at midnight like it's some drop and hopefully secure our access to Wikipedia for the month. Are we being fucking for real now? It's wild. And going back to what I was saying before, on paper, protect the kids, ban the dangerous websites. It all seems like a fantastic idea. Just like how protect the Americans, ban cocaine seems like a fantastic idea as well. But when you tackle these problems with hardline restrictive laws, instead of actually fixing the root problem that caused people to go down bad paths in life, poor education, living conditions, healthcare, rehabilitation, poverty, you just make the addictive vice, either of the things I've been talking about, way more harmful, way more widespread. I mean, the Netherlands have pretty much done the opposite from the US and UK regarding their policy against drugs and and coincidentally, the Netherlands completely outperforms the UK and the US in both those issues. Statistically, the country is far less addicted to drugs and far less addicted to corn than the US and UK. This is because these two vices in the Netherlands are way more available, however way more regulated, because the legality of drugs means that both can be consumed way more safely. Also, it means that the Netherlands is way less affected by all the secondary issues caused by addiction, poverty, homelessness, unemployment, etc, etc, etc. And I'm in no way saying that the main P sites are good. However, I think we can all agree they're way more safe and better regulated than the tiny small P sites that currently don't have any ID checking restrictions, which kids can access no problem. I know you know what I'm talking about. These small explicit sites are genuinely littered with the worst shit ever. Viruses, scam adverts, unmoderated content you wouldn't even believe is on the surface web. Really horrible brain rotting shit.
I mean, dude, don't stop watching us and go over to Pornhub or RedTube or whatever the fuck you're into, or Brazzers. Or, sorry.
I haven't heard the word red tube in like 7 years. I don't even know if red tube works still.
It does.
Also, the government has completely neglected the real issues with corn. You want to know why? Because under the Online Safety Act, it is completely legal for explicit P-word sites to show the entire video apart from the bit with the explicit act, which is blurred. So you can watch the whole intro, outro, the whole backstory. You can see the fucking pizza guy flirting, all that shit. But isn't that the problematic, like, brain-rotting, horrible, terrible part for kids? Isn't that the worst part about this content? Especially if it's being consumed by an impressionable young mind. And I thought protecting these young impressionable people was the whole point of this Online Safety Act. I thought that was the whole point, bro.
Get me a package. I got money.
I got you.
Alright.
Alright. But it's his life though, fuck it.
I don't think anyone's watching those stories for like their cinematic quality, you know? But realistically, if someone is 16 and they're allowed to legally get with any grown-up adult, saying that person is not allowed to look up is ridiculous. Let them have the cornflakes, bro. Let them have the cornflakes. If they're allowed to go off in the world and be treated like an adult in that way, then they should be allowed as much of the cornflakes as they want. All I'm saying. Or I got a crazy proposal. Since the UK have legally recognized that 16 is way too young to be consuming this content online, why don't you fucking idiots focus on changing the age of consent to 18? Because that's not online, that's real life, and it matters way more. Obviously, I really want to see who gets mad at that idea. I would really like to see who's gonna stand up and argue against me on that point, bro.
I've got a dilemma that's got nothing to do with me. Quickly, yeah. One of my brethren, he's saying he has no limit. Not no limit. He's basically saying, yeah, as a 27-year-old man, what's the youngest thing he can chop? You see what he's saying? He can get insured on loons. It's a mad thing right now.
Wait, what's he saying he can get insured on?
1.8 turbo, good to go. What's the limit for a mid-20-year-old man? What's the youngest thing he should be chopping? I don't care if she's fully developed, pimp my ride, exhibit.
Although, to be fair, if Keir Starmer proposed that, as a country we might lose our only ally and our only favorable trading partner based off Trump's recent Epstein-related actions. Or lack of actions. Anywho, I mainly think that anyone who really wants to will end up looking at the Category 1 site anyway. I genuinely think the British government is full of such stupid boomers that they don't understand the concept of an embedded video or how you can just access thumbnails and GIFs on Google Images, the most accessible browser on planet fucking Earth. If your kid wants to find something on the internet, they will find it. The only thing you can do is take the phone away. It's the only thing, I promise you. I wonder if you asked Keir Starmer, would he know that a Category 2 site could just host a Category 1 site's video, or anyone could just upload a screen recording of a Category 1 video on a small site, or just put it on a drive, or just use a fucking VPN?
French Bosch, Le Bosch, Spanish Bosch, Il Bosch, German Bosch, Z Bosch, Greek Bosch, Yamas Bosch, Welsh Bosch, Boyle Bosch, Scottish Bosch, McBosch.
This might be the craziest statistic of this whole situation. There has been a fucking 1,400% increase in UK VPN signups since the Online Safety Act dropped. 1,400%? I don't think I've ever seen such a big percent be used for anything ever in history. Ever. 1,400? Are we... Bro. Guys, just make sure you turn off your snap maps, because everyone knows what you're doing if you keep that shit on. Everyone knows. Here is an actual official statement the government has given about VPN usage in the UK.
This is the biggest step forward in child safety since the internet was created. There is, since Friday last week, children and parents will notice the difference in the experience that children have. And for everybody who's out there thinking of using VPNs, let me just say to you directly.
Okay, I'm listening, bro.
Verifying your age keeps a child safe.
How?
Keeps children safe in our country. So let's just not try and find a way around.
No, I'm going to find a way
around. Just prove your age.
No.
Make the internet safer for children, make it a better experience for everyone.
You're lying.
That's surely what we should aspire to in this country.
This posh little bitch also tweeted something that I thought was quite interesting. If you want to overturn the Online Safety Act, you are on the side of the predators. It's as simple as that. That's it. No discussion, no logical arguments. Don't respond to anyone's points. Nothing. No statistics. Nothing. Just the end-all argument of you're a pedo. I think we should just restrict the internet for guys like this. They're obviously such big fucking pussies. They cannot have the internet exposed to them. It'd be too hurtful for these poor dudes, these poor grown men. Also, you might be interested to know that this snowflake I've just been showing on the screen, Peter Kyle, who just won't stop talking about how important it is for us to protect kids, is also the man in charge of our trading of weapons with Israel. What, and I have to use a VPN to protect kids? You know, kids need protecting from you. This guy is the chairman of a board called Labour Friends of Israel, which is basically the AIPAC of the UK for this one political party we have in power right now.
You've broken the ministerial code, Mr. Cole. You didn't declare that you were a member of Labour Friends of Israel, and yet you're the minister responsible for arms exports to Israel. Isn't that a clear conflict of interest? No? Most of your cabinet colleagues declared that they were members of Labour Friends of Israel. If you look in the ministerial declaration of interests, it's all there. Rachel Reeves, David Lammy, they declared it. Why didn't you feel it appropriate to declare it, sir? You said at an event that you were a member very recently. Did you just forget to declare it? No? You don't think it has any bearing on your decision to potentially resume arms exports to Israel? The fact that you're a member of a pro-Israel pressure group?
This is the reason people are getting banned from this country just for being anti-Israel. And our weapons being sent to Israel, well, you know, for YouTube purposes, I'm not gonna go into details, but it's kind of the opposite to protecting kids, isn't it? I think engaging in this kind of behavior is kind of like the worst thing that's happened to women and kids in like centuries of human existence, right?
I know British, I know British, I know British, impossible. I know British, I'm Dominican, I'm Puerto Rican, I know British, be looking just like me. Be having the same hair. I be touching it like, it's not the same, it's not the same, it's not the same, papi. It's not the same. They try to salsa that shit off. I'd be like, no, it's not the same. I know British, nunca. I know British, I know you British. No. I know British. Dominica. I go, I know, but you're British. No, papi. I know British.
I don't blame anyone for using a VPN though. You want to know why? Well, you would think that if the UK were genuinely committed to such a drastic, radical move as this, they would spend a lot of time and effort and money creating a safe and secure method for ID checks and verification. Truly, honestly, despite everything I've said so far, I wouldn't be that opposed to the ID checks if there was a safe, secure way for them to be carried out. But no! The UK passed the Online Safety Act with absolutely no warning, completely out of the blue. I think their reason for this is that prior to the act, if there had been a vote or even an announcement, there would have been so much public outrage that the act could not have been passed. There would have been riots. We would have burnt down Big Ben in the name of Google. I swear we would have. Not that Keir Starmer seems to care much about his long-term reputation and like if people riot about stuff, but because they passed the act so hurriedly, it left explicit sites, all of them from Xvideos to Spotify, scrambling for a way to implement these ID checks. Oh, this is the cherry on the top of the cake, because the government didn't bother developing any ID checking secure portal, any ID checking infrastructure. They didn't even just like recommend one good company these sites could use. Nothing. The only information that was given to these websites was start doing ID checks or you're getting deleted instantly. This is legitimately like giving someone a bike with no fucking wheels and telling them, if you don't want to be executed in the next 30 seconds, you need to find some wheels and cycle to Mongolia for me, bro. Everyone in that situation is gonna find some rubbish, jam it into the fucking mudguard and head off. And this is exactly what all the explicit websites have done. If you want to legally access these category 1 sites in the UK, you have to use a third-party ID checking data processing company, which isn't legally trusted by the website or the government or anyone. They use AI to 3D scan your face, so they have an exact replica of your head basically. Then the same AI scans and analyzes all your passport and driving licenses biometric data to make sure your face and ID match up. But also in this process, the third-party data company stores your date of birth, your passport number, your address, your fucking ethnicity and hair color, etc, 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 which I'm totally sure is all absolutely necessary to make sure you're applicable to Google. I'm sure, bro. Makes so much sense. If this wasn't sketchy enough already, these data companies then store all this data on a cloud so that you can log back in without going through this entire process again, which makes all your information extremely vulnerable for a data leak. Whenever you have personal information directly linked to very compromising stuff which that person did, for example, a corn cub account, freaky searches, which Reddit pages you visited, etc, etc. When you have these two golden elements combined, there is always a massive incentive for hackers, governments, trolls, third-party advertisers, etc. to access or to leak the data. Dox people. There can be many reasons for this, from providing the perfect advert for you to buy, to leaking Hunter Biden's affairs, to rigging elections, to just making a political point. A pretty good example of a data leak, like I'm explaining, happened extremely recently with the T app. This was, I guess, a gossip app created by women for women only, which was designed so that women could anonymously message each other and spill the tea about men in their lives, and also to share insight on how to date and be safe around men, apparently. And last month, a massive data breach occurred because they had invested hardly any money into cybersecurity. An app about safety and anonymity, by the way. The breach exposed 70,000 images, about 1.1 million private messages containing deeply sensitive content, discussions of cheating, abortion, personal safety concerns, phone numbers, and even geolocations. And most importantly for this video, the breach included tens of thousands of identity verification photos, selfies, and ID scans. Yup, the UK government has created such a perfect motive for data breaches like this. Absolutely no one wants to be exposed for looking at Fember big compilation. No one wants to be exposed for using addiction advice Reddit pages as well. Now, because the ID verification services being used by these websites are so messed up and unsafe and such a breach of privacy with the risk of a data leak, etc., thousands of websites have just gone, yo, we're not operating in this country. The act instantly wipes out about 6,000 larger websites, I think. Most of these sites gave their reason for backing out of the UK as simply privacy concerns. And realistically, whilst there are other issues as well, this is mainly everyone's problem with the Online Safety Act. It's not that we don't want to protect the kids. I'm really not advocating for 5-year-olds. I really don't think that's a good thing. The issue is our government has made it the law that you have to give every single millimeter of your biometric data to a non-governmental organization that makes money tracking what you do online and logging all your information, storing all your most important private information. These data collectors are genuinely like the online equivalent of some fucking skinny old Russian guy wearing all black with his hood up who hangs about around the back of Tesco chewing sunflower seeds and chain smoking whilst eyeing you up. I do not want to give you a 4K fucking photo containing every single pore of my skin on my face, bro, especially since he's also noting down that I'm beating my shit to extra maximum .mov. Look, seriously, bro. If them damn Russian hackers could get into Hillary Clinton's fucking private email account, and if they could fucking install a Trojan virus on Angela Merkel's personal laptop and also interfere in the entire world's fucking elections, I don't know. I feel like Yoti.com honestly is gonna be pretty light work. Not gonna lie. God damn it, bro. I was doing so well in life. I was about to get my dream job until Sergey from fucking Novosibirsk emailed my ex search history to my boss. Man, fucking god damn it, bro. A London fixed gear bicycle blog had to shut down due to the high cost and complexity of complying with the Online Safety Act. A fixed gear bicycle blog. Are we being serious? So many small non-commercial websites have been forced to shut down like this. It's so depressing, man. These are just people's passion projects and shit. And these sites are being nerfed, leaving only the big monopoly social media sites for us to use. It's not just corn. The Online Safety Act has actually, in my opinion, probably had more effect on non-corn sites. I'm sorry, wheat. I'm sorry, rice. That's just the way it is these days. And hot take, I think doing ID checks on some of these sites is an absolute contradiction. Let me just go through a few and explain why. YouTube now in 2025 requires an AI ID verification if you watch too many childish videos like Minecraft playthroughs or MrBeast challenges. However, this site has literal scam corn bots spamming the comments of videos with AI generated phrases. Always. If you've been on the platform long enough, you'll see these all the time. I don't think there's been much crackdown on this at all. Maybe there has, but I don't know. Any YouTuber will know about these because they literally start commenting on your video the millisecond you make it public. You publish your vid instantly. Boom.
Thank you, Geopod, for another meaningful content on the Epstein video. We community, we love community, we love you, we love it, community.
Thank you once again, suka bля, Yan Yaruski.
With some super explicit profile picture, and then you click on that profile picture, there's like a link to go to, and I guarantee that link will be a corn scam. That's seemingly just allowed by YouTube. Also, I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but some of the ads on YouTube are insane. I remember before I caved in and bought YouTube Premium, I would be terrified to put YouTube on like a TV in case one of the corn game adverts came up, which would obviously happen at the exact moment when a family member who doesn't understand YouTube would walk in the room and just see me watching a fucking voluptuous creature bouncing up and down on it. Let's not get into it. Let's just move on. Twitter, you need to do AI checks to use it now, but like half the users of this site are bots, right? From Russia to Twitter is just like a bot farm where AI bots interact with each other. Political content can genuinely frequently be like 90% boosted and interacted with by bots. And politics wise, the owner of the app does funny salutes on world stages. There was no age restriction on watching that. But hey, bro, if your tweets contain too many swear words or too many spicy opinions, boy, you better be backing that ID out, boy. I'ma need a full 3D face scan, bro. I actually don't get it though. If they want Twitter to stop being so harmful for children, maybe they should just not allow corn on the site. Oh wait, I forgot about that guy who renamed the app into a corn site. Bro, if any app starts with an X, you know what it's designed for. Another example, Spotify. The money this app makes is genuinely used to fund war, to blow up civilians, some of which are gonna be children. So starving, mutilating, and decimating a 17-year-old into chunks of meat is absolutely ethically fine. However, if that same 17-year-old wanted to listen to the new Carti album, what? No fucking way. No. That we can't. No. I can't believe you even suggested such a thing. I can't believe it. What the And because of all this shit, to win over Labour voters now, Reform don't even need to make their own populist talking points. Nigel Farage's main draw factor for new voters now is simply every new restriction Labour announces, he goes on Twitter and slags it off. So mate, what you're saying is you like fags and X videos and drinking beer, just like me, just like me. Well, tell you what mate, you got my vote, pal, you got my vote. Because of this, Reform UK has now basically become the party of cigs and booze. I understand why many people would vote for this, I genuinely do. All I have to say to you guys is, look, maybe just think about the last time the majority of the country trusted this guy. Would you like the right to go live and travel freely in your own continent, the continent you were rightfully born in, without becoming an illegal immigrant to the point that they can, you know, put you in prison for simply staying in your continent longer than you're allowed? You probably don't like that. Nigel invented that. Fortunately, his kids have EU passports, so they don't have to suffer the genuine nonsense that most Brits do in their own fucking continent. Oh man, whatever. I mean, look, on the other hand, at least if Nigel Farage becomes the Prime Minister, I'll have a video of the goddamn Prime Minister calling for my mate and also conveniently my main business competition to get deported to Bosnia. What? Okay, so that would be a little bit of a W at least.
Hello, Nigel Farage here. This is an important message for WowMow. Now, after looking through my government database, I've uncovered some sinister information. I know about your preference for Romanian women. I know about your oil-rich Saudi family. I know you don't even have a basic understanding of English grammar, but worst of all, I know about you stealing Geopold's memes and then lying about his ethnicity, and for that reason I must banish you to Bosnia, inshallah.
Honestly, it really mentally hurts my brain to even talk about British politics right now. The truth is, even if a political party I loved got in, which doesn't exist, but let's just imagine a political party I really liked got in, they really wouldn't be able to make that much of a difference at all. The UK is still basically set up as a fucking feudal country. Nothing's changed since the 1600s really. We're still essentially just peasants being ruled by lords. Just now in the modern day, we're not called peasants and they're not called lords. Oh, wait, no, sorry. They are called lords still, and they have this completely undemocratic rule over our nation, completely undemocratically, and we have to do shit like this whenever the commoners need the lords to undemocratically choose to veto or not veto laws we pass. And I'm not gonna endorse a political party in this country because they all absolutely suck, but hopefully you've understood from this video that despite Keir Starmer's continuous lapse of judgment, any other party is slightly better than Reform, okay? I mean, just take a look at their councillors, who now are in charge of so many councils, local councils in the country. Yeah, these guys seem very well suited for the job. There is one party that has slightly better policies when it comes to Israel, but they have extremely massive other problems. So, whatever. As I said, because I'm not going to endorse anyone, I don't know how many videos about the UK I'm going to make. There is only so much I can say about this damn island before my head blows into 7 million different pieces. But I'll leave you with a couple important points I want to finally make, okay? A lot of political discussion and debate in this country is based around the question, what does it mean to be British? Who has a right to Britain? What even does being a Brit mean? Well, how about we take a lesson from the most British of them all? You know, how about the really British people? Like the royals, for example. Stealing, breaking the law, bending the rules, taking drugs, giving age restrictions a blind eye, funding black markets, not settling for the norm, the rules, splashing out unethically, not taking no for an answer. So maybe us normal folk should take a lesson from the most British Brits of them all when it comes to stupid restrictions and rules like Keir Starmer seems so obsessive about. Because at the end of the day, he's just an old-fashioned nasal normal human who isn't above me or you as a human. He just happens to be in a position of power with absolutely no knowledge or empathy or understanding of how young normal people like me or you approach life. Whether that's having a cheeky Chesterfield Blue down at the pub with your mates, or whether that's the slang and the words we use when we talk to each other. Roll the clip.
He called us orcs and goons. Mr. Speaker, I am a gooner, and so, as usual, she is less than half right.
Mr. Speaker, I am a gooner. Mr. Speaker, I am a gooner.
He called us orcs and goons. Mr. Speaker, I am a gooner, and so, as usual...
You're gonna goon so much, you may even get tired of gooning.
Fuck off. 6-7. No, I don't think Britain is ungovernable. Holy fuck. Yeah, the hell? If you don't like the changes that we've made, I say the door is open and you can leave.
Thank you everybody for watching. If you want to support videos like this, which are extremely anti-algorithm friendly and don't get pushed as much as other YouTube videos by YouTube, then please give me a comment, give me a like, press any of these buttons here. It will absolutely triple the engagement with this video if everyone does that. It's free of charge, it takes no time, but it would absolutely help me massively. Also, my main goal on this platform right now is to beat Netanyahu's subscriber count by 10x. So sub up if you want to help me do that. All of us are gonna come together and ratio him, hopefully. Please, just help me, please. Listen to this outro music via the link in bio if you want to listen to it, like always. Okay, goodbye. Goodbye. Don't forget to click that link in the description to get the special discount CyberGhost VPN is granting for our channel users. This app will protect your data whilst you browse and give you full access to all blocked content on the internet for just $2.03 a month only. Totally risk-free. Check it out. Link in the description.